Daiquiri, darling, come with me. We'll take you to the place that you want to be. Daiquiri, liquid alchemy. Seconds feel like hours, sitting in the flowers. Be patient, be patient.
Speaking of shaking a proper drink, let's have a proper bartender talking about cocktails. Let's go to Jillian. Jillian, all the way. I don't know if you're in New York. Are you in New York? Are you? Let me just unmute you here. Are you in New York?
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
Where are you? Because since Black Rabbit,
Black Rabbit.
I say Black Rabbit. That's a new bar. I was gonna say the Dead Tail.
Or Dead Tail.
Yeah. Where are you now? Where are you now?
I'm actually, so I'm zooming live here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which is
Nice.
south of Boston, where I'm from.
Nice.
And I'm at my mother's house. So
oh, cool.
even
Cool.
you know, I have nothing here. I had to borrow a cocktail kit from my my friend of mine.
Oh, you gonna make a drink?
I did make a drink. I didn't have any glassware. I had to use
That's
like the ice
It's
the
all
ice
right.
tray, old school.
Yeah.
I had to get creative.
As long as it tastes good.
Daiquiri about, you know, a half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. I still have a pretty good.
Well, drink it and tell us about it, because your time's running. I've been eating into your time.
I actually have. I already have my timer on.
All right, I'll go for it.
So I can call bullshit.
See, it's proper.
So daiquiris. I mean, you know, I work obviously at the Dead Rabbit in New York City, which is a focus on Irish whiskey, but all classic cocktails we take seriously. Of course, also opening up Blacktail along with Jesse, Jack, him and I went over and over and over for days, and like I'd say about 100 different proportions of different rums to make a rum blend. So I'm a big fan of a white rum blend myself. And with not having a Cuban rum at that point available in the US, we wanted to kind of recreate something that was available. So we blended together different styles. But even before working for the company, I worked at Death & Co., where we did gangster daiquiri times before we opened the bar. And so gangster daiquiri time, if you were a new bartender or someone staging, we would kind of make you feel a little nervous by making a daiquiri for the staff, like a little cheeky, just a little tiny bit, like a third of a daiquiri each, just to get the night started. And we actually started a little log where we wrote down that gangster daiquiri of the day, which actually led to being drinks that we put on the menu. So that's kind of what started with the four rum blends. So I love, you know, something like Plantation, something like the 3-star that's really clean. Mixing that with something like a Haitian rum, like Barbancourt, El Dorado 3-star, and then Banks. So those is kind of making that into a 2.5 ounce blend. So doing an ounce of the Plantation 3-star, 3/4 of the El Dorado 3-year, half of the Barbancourt, and 1/4 of the Banks. Gives a little funk, a little grassiness. Oh, as for sugar, I like cane sugar, and shaking it really well and using a glass that doesn't have too much surface area to keep a good head on the drink are my key things to making a good daiquiri.
Excellent. You still got 40 seconds to go. You speak so eloquently.
Oh, my timer's up, but I can keep going.
Was it? Oh, I gave you a little bit of extra time, you see, because all that grief you gave me when you first met me, and you made me I
gave you a shot of Redbreast.
That's right, exactly. Ask for rum, and she gave me bloody Redbreast.
What?
Anyway, if there's nothing else to say, that's absolutely amazing. Great daiquiri, and of course I'll be down to Dead Rabbit to come and have a daiquiri there. Right, let's go over, since everyone's talking about adding a little bit of funk to their daiquiris, I think we should go to the home of funk. Let's go to Jamaica. Let's go to Jamaica and speak to Zan Kong. Let me just unmute you. Zan Kong here from Werby Park. You're going to tell us about your daiquiri experience, your connection with daiquiris, and you have 3 minutes from now.
All right. What's going on?
Yeah, man.
You couldn't have gave me a harder group of people to follow up from. So thank you for that, Ian. But I think, the daiquiri experience in Jamaica is totally different because our cocktail scene is nowhere, we're still leaps and bounds behind, kind of everywhere else in the world. So most of my experience growing up with daiquiris was the frozen, ones out of the machine that you get when you go to all-inclusive hotel. So truly, it wasn't until, I really started getting out to a lot of these bars that we're talking about here to really get to experience daiquiris. And my life has changed ever since. But now bringing it to the Jamaican style, I know, my respect to all the Cubans, but we have to stick to our roots, and we have to use our overproof Jamaican rum when we're doing daiquiris in Jamaica. So I stick with our double, retort pot still overproof Jamaican rum. So it's got a lot more heat, and I can see Julio and everybody turning in their seats that we're using Jamaican rum for it. But that's how we roll. But now again, when sugar wise, because we have a sugar estate and we make our own sugar, so I use 100% cane sugar that I get from Worthy Park. I use 1-to-1, and I like doing the simple daiquiri. And I use lime. Citrus wise, in Jamaica we get like these little baby limes. So when we're doing daiquiris in Jamaica, I'm squeezing like 6 or 7 limes just to make one drink, and that's like 3/4 of an ounce. But it's a little more work that we have to do for our daiquiris here. But with our pot still rum, we get that funky, like super banana note from us. So one thing that I like to do with my daiquiris is I like to make a banana daiquiri. And usually, especially when I'm in the States and traveling, all right, Ryan, big up. I work a lot with Jafard, so big up Jafard Banana Brazil. I use 2 ounces of our overproof rum, 3/4 ounce of lime, a 1/2 ounce of the 1-to-1 simple, and a 1/2 ounce of the banana from Jafard. And it's a beautiful banana daiquiri, man. That's kind of been my go-to. Now, for this one, I'm drinking in my glass since it's still morning time. I did a blend with our gold, so I didn't go full overproof. I went overproof and rum bar gold, so I mixed it with a little 40% aged rum. And I use banana syrup because I have banana trees in my yard, and they always overripe before you get to use them. So we just boiled some down, made some banana syrup. So kicking it real Jamaican style with my banana daiquiri.
Yeah, man. It's 20 seconds left, but I'm gonna.
20 seconds.
You're 20 seconds. You've been cut off in your prime.
I know, that's the first time Ian's given me a platform and I actually have more time.
This ain't Richard Seal. I gave you a proper introduction.
Right. But I just want to say, I love daiquiris. Daiquiris are like my children. You don't have a favorite. You love them all equally, but in the back of your mind, there's one that you love more than the other. And that's
brilliant. Excellent. Thank you, Zan. So
thank you.
That's a Jamaican aspect from the daiquiri. Right. Speaking of Jamaica, apparently there's a Jamaica in New York. How far is Jamaica in New York from Queens? Shannon?
Jamaica is a section of Queens.
Oh, it is.
Yes,
well, I don't know.
So it's not that far.
I'm a tourist. I'm a tourist. I didn't know. I just know every time I go to New York, I know there's a Jamaica there, and I want to go there. But
we'll make
now I know
it's.
Okay, well, you have to be my tour guide. So, Shannon, we're over review now. You're going to give us your 3 minutes soliloquy, speech, role play of the daiquiri master, the daiquiri maker. Tell us your experience about the daiquiri. You have 3 minutes from now.
That's a lot of pressure, Ian. So the daiquiri is really important to me, as when I was planning to open Gladys Caribbean 6 years ago, this was at a time where rum did not have a great reputation among American consumers or bar goers. It was really rare to go into a bar in New York and find more than 3 or 4 bottles, unless whoever was running it was really into it. So I knew that on the first menu, I had to present some cocktails that would show rum in a very positive light. And I knew that a daiquiri would do that because there's a way for us to serve it in full view of our guests that would show them that it wasn't a frozen daiquiri, it wasn't a sweet daiquiri. So I started with Bala Florita's version as an inspiration. And so we would squeeze the lime juice fresh on the pickup, right there into the shaker. We would use granulated sugar, stir it to dissolve it. And then we would use Panamanian style rum, that were inspired by the type of rums that Don Pancho made to kind of go back to the Cuban roots, a chilled coupe. and that was it. So I realized that that was like the best selling tool I had to help people understand that rum is really delicious. So that's where my fanaticism grew.
Nice.
But then from there, I realized that, you know, not every day is the same. So I don't always like the same daiquiri. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. After visiting Rum GM and tasting through the same liquid at 40, 50, and 55% ABV, I realized that it's a travesty to bottle rum under 50% ABV, and we can all have a debate about that. But I love flavor, I love funk, I love aroma. And so I was like, I want to use rums that can really shine in that way. So my daiquiri today is made with a 110 from Martinique, HSC. When I'm not drinking a straight agricole daiquiri, I'll usually do some splits. So that could be a split between a pot still high ester overproof Jamaica rum and a Clarin. It could be a split between a Jamaica rum and a Panamanian rum. It just depends on where I'm at and what I'm in the mood for. But typically I avoid, like the plague, a daiquiri made with a lower proof rum. It is the way I judge a bar. If I go in and order a daiquiri and I'm not feeling it, then I immediately switch to beer, and that's it.
Wow, that's cold. Switch to beer.
Well, it's like,
That's
if you're not doing that for me, you're not doing nothing for me. So that's it.
Woo! That's a tough customer, Shannon. Tough customer.
Standards.
Anyway, that was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely great story. Great what's called rum eloquence. Oh, HSC, House of Saint Etienne in Martinique. Yeah, nice, strong daiquiri. Right, who should we go to now? I see. Oh, Martin looks like he's having a good drink there in San Francisco. Hey, but let's go to Martin. Let's go to San Francisco because it's early in the morning there, and I know Martin's been drinking probably since about I don't know what time it is. Is it 7 o'clock there? Let's unmute you. Oh, there we go. Martin, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
10 a.m. It's not that early.
Oh,
Not
10
too
a.m.
early
It's
for
not
breakfast daiquiri. It's all right.
Hi,
everybody.
I saw you.
What's that? Nope, Ian, you froze. This is great. Ian's frozen. He's not talking. This is wonderful. Everyone celebrate. Can you hear? Oh, this is fantastic.
I'm celebrating with you, Martin.
All right, this is amazing. All right, now I'm going to get unlimited time too. All right, let's talk shit about Ian while he's frozen. All right.
You got plenty of time. Go for it.
Well, I wanted to say to everybody, I mean, the reason I'm here today is not to tell you that my daiquiri is better than anybody else's. The reason I'm here today is to see all of you, because I thought this would be nice to see a bunch of great faces that I miss. I think it's sad that we're all kind of boxed up and away from each other right now, so it's a pleasure to see all of you. I will tell you what I made. Of course, it's fresh lime juice. I do a 2-to-1 simple because I don't want a lot of extra water in there. I did a combination of some heavy-duty Louisiana farm cane syrup and a little bit of white mixed together. And the rums are just whatever I had around the house because I'm not picky. It's isolation time, but so it's a little bit, it's a blend of Real McCoy 3, and just to be a completely obnoxious asshole, it's a lab sample of Hampton Overproof, which is quite delicious, from Jamaica, of course. So it's actually, but it's their OWH mark. It's not too funky. It's actually made a really good daiquiri. So, but to me, the point is, I just wanted to get across that the best daiquiri is really the one that you're having with friends, and the one that you're having in an experience, the one you're having at the bar you love, the one you're having with friends you love. I think I look at all these faces here, and I remember all the great daiquiris I've had. I remember the smell of the wood-fired grill at Gladys, drinking with Shannon. I remember the amazing backyard and cigars with Julio at Cafe La Trova. I have really no memory of ever going to Trailer Happiness, but apparently I did at some point. I certainly have wonderful memories. Mr. Sid over there will remember, just as a quick story, visiting the hacienda in Mexico. And we had all landed with a bunch of our Rum Club members, long flight, long drive up a long bumpy, dirty road, and we got to this beautiful the Bacardi Hacienda in Mexico, and they were there waiting for us with this platter full of daiquiris, ice cold, and just hot and dusty. And you come off the road, and that's, you know, those are the daiquiris you remember as, you know, the special moments and things like that. Yeah, I think so that's all I wanted to say, and I'll just keep going.
I just love hearing you talk, Martin. It's just so eloquent. It's just, this is amazing. You almost sound British.
I guess Ian's back. Oh well.
Oh, I had to go and make my daiquiri. I had to go get ingredients for my cocktail.
Wasn't it great while it lasted? Oh well. Anyway,
since you mentioned David Sid, we better go to David now. David Sid,
hey,
are you here? Are you here? Yeah, there.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. You got that daiquiri shit behind you. What's this, lemons and sugar and everything like that?
Man. That's the logo for my podcast, man. And
yeah, only thing we're missing now is a tie and the suit I normally see you in.
Oh man, I haven't worn a tie in like 4 years, brother.
Oh, wow, okay. Must be the pictures I'm looking at. Anyway, enough about me.
Pictures with the original hat. When I used to wear the straw hat.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. So David, 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes to talk about your daiquiri.
All right, cool. Listen, I have to say it's wonderful to be here with all of you. I think Martin said something very special, which is it's true. It's about memories as much as it is about the drink itself and what we do. Without further ado, you know, I remember when I started with Bacardi as an ambassador back in 2008, and it was the first time I got exposed to the reality that the daiquiri was something that was handshaken and not frozen, right? So it was really, really interesting to find that out. But what was even more interesting was when I saw the handwritten recipe by Jennings Cox, right? Because the reality is that lime, sugar, and alcohol, or lime, honey, and alcohol, for the most part, has been a remedy for like the common cold or cough in just about every culture that I can think of in the Western world, right? I can't speak about Asia, but at least in the Western world, you know, if you have a cough, that's kind of one of the home remedies that you get. But I remember getting into a conversation with someone, and they were very adamant about the history and what's a real daiquiri and everything else. And then I showed the original recipe, and I said, listen, you can argue all day long, but the simple reality of it is that it's a spiked lemonade. Jennings Cox's recipe is a spiked lemonade with a very, very particular way of approaching it in a punch serve. And the beauty of it is that when you think about it, the combination of lime and sugar, when you think about other categories, it serves as a wonderful foundation for a lot of great drinks, no matter the spirit. So the daiquiri to me is, as many have mentioned, such a key foundation to many great drinks in rum. I personally love the classic with Bacardi, granulated sugar or castor sugar and lime. I also, even before we purchased or acquired Banks, I enjoyed comparing what it means to have, you know, a more flavorful rum. And Banks was always my go-to flavorful rum back in 2011. I'm muted, I think. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay, perfect. And then what I have today is a Hemingway. So this is my favorite variation of the daiquiri because I have a soft spot for maraschino liqueur. But when I'm in Puerto Rico, I normally make it with ruby red grapefruit, but when I'm in Puerto Rico, I make it with chironja, which is, I believe in English, orangelo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is believed to be indigenous to Puerto Rico. So it gives it a wonderful sweetness and a little hint of the bitter of the grapefruit, but I let the maraschino ride the wave and take care of that. So salud to everyone. I love all of you. Thank you for having me, and to rum and to familia.
Salud,
Wow.
salud, David.
That's a great story. Great story. I'm
right now. I'm clapping.
Always sounds so. He sounds even more eloquent than mine does. My goodness. God,
And I'm at my mother's house.
So that's the reason why.
Look at the glass with the gold tip, you know?
Brilliant.
Probably older than me.
Okay, right. Let's come back to London. London, award-winning, award-nominating, one of the best high-volume bars inside the world, or at least inside West London. Sly, tell us about your daiquiri experience. Let me just unmute you. Tell us about your daiquiri experience from Trailer Happiness style. Can we hear? Can anyone hear Sly? Sly, we can't hear you. Can't hear you, Sly. You're not muted. Turn your mic up. Turn your mic up. You're like crackling. Oh, still can't hear you. All right, what we'll do, we'll go to someone else and then you sort your mic out and then come back. You know, you're just looking for this, like, you're just looking for more attention. Right, let's go all the way. Oh, you know what, where was Sly over Christmas? Sly was in Ghana at Christmas or New Year's having a good party. So we're gonna go all the way to Ghana. We're gonna go to my man, Eben, who is Mr. Cocktail, Mr. Cocktailian, Mr. Everything when it comes to cocktail in Ghana. Eben, tell us, give us your daiquiri love. Oh, he's gone. What are you doing? Oh, you're back.
Got my drink in the freeze because I didn't want it to, go warm.
Yeah, you've been hanging out with Ryan, haven't you?
All right, so I'm very privileged to be on this platform, meeting people like Juan and all these kind of people. So amazing. Yeah. So that is one of the greatest daiquiri cocktails that I made in Africa, and that is really inspired by the ingredients that we grow around Africa. So I'm creating something that is called a Pan-African kind of cocktails. So I'm trying to fuse it with classic cocktails. I'm trying to blend classic cocktails with African ingredients that are easy to find. The reason behind this is because I realized that there are a whole couple of stories behind cocktails, like where it's from, what's really inspired that particular cocktail and stuff. And I'm just looking at where I'm from, and I can see a whole lot of like ingredients that we could probably use in making great cocktails and stuff. So that is one of the daiquiri cocktails that I made with hibiscus, but that is not just that is a bisap. You understand? And a bisap is really being made in a Ghanaian way, because I got this, which is the men's dope bisap, because I didn't really want people to find it difficult to grab this type of hibiscus or bisap juice, because when it happens that way, it makes it very difficult for people to find, even if they are so much interested about the cocktail, because the balance it's not going to be it's not going to be stable. So we probably want to go for one particular brand which is very best to blend with our cocktail, which is not too much expensive as well. Because the reason behind this as well is I realized that more of our Ghanaians, we really like more of like sweet and spicy kind of cocktails, and we are more of like health conscious. So I was like, okay, fine, we can probably start doing something with our own ingredients to make it look a little bit unique, because it's very difficult when maybe you go outside the country, you enjoy a couple of different type of cocktails. So I wanted to be like, okay, that is a type of cocktail, a star type of cocktail that when you come to Africa, you could probably enjoy, you understand, which is far different from what people are enjoying across the world. So it's something that is so African. So I had to use like 50 ml of Bacardi rum. Before I tried with one of our distilled locally rum in Ghana, which is being distilled from palm wine, which is from the tree. And I tasted that one too, and it's very nice. So I had to just give it a little bit of twist. But when you want to make it easier, because I look at the type of markets that like to drink cocktails in my country, they are not the type of people that would want to go in for that particular local.
Don't worry, you got 10 seconds.
All right, so
10 seconds before you cut you off.
All right, so
cut you off in your prime.
Look, I'll tell you something. I just have 10 seconds. But when I made this cocktail for a particular French girl in my bar, I had a kiss, and it was an amazing kiss. If I had a before, you would know what I'm talking about.
Well, if you'd made that in a Jamaican bar, you'd have got a box. Anyway, that's another story. So that was Eben, all the way from Ghana. I wonder if Sly's or school if he's sister. Is Sly back here? Sly.
Yo, 1, 2.
You're here, Sly. Yes. You're
1,
back.
2.
You're back. Yes, man. Your microphone sorted. Excellent.
I'm back in the house.
Sly, you got 3 minutes to chat now.
All right, boom. So my experience with daiquiri, obviously, being an owner of Trailer Happiness and getting to travel around with all of you fantastic human beings. I'm pretty sure I've experienced daiquiri with all of you at some point somewhere on the globe, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Firstly, I want to say the daiquiri, obviously, classic drink. If I want a daiquiri made perfectly, I'm going to get somebody else to make it. preferably an actual bartender. But if I'm going to make a daiquiri myself for somebody, I'm probably going to go with a daiquiri that's really close to my heart, which is the dry daiquiri. And now the reason that I love the dry daiquiri is because it just has a little bit more tolerance in it, right? So if the lime's slightly off, or, you know, the sugar ratio is not good, you still got, you know, that Campari, that mature Campari vibe to just kind of bring it back down to earth, right? You know, my gin lovers know their drinks have been hiding behind Campari for years, right? Maestro, you know what I'm saying? So you bring a little bit of Campari to the party and then a little bit of passion fruit, right? But the reason why the dry daiquiri is super, super personal and close to me is because when I first took over Trailer Happiness and I'd be in that bar and all hell would break loose, right? Before my head exploded, I would leave. I would walk upstairs, I would turn right, and I would go to the Portobello Star, right? And my guys in there would be like, what can I get you? Dry daiquiri? Yes, please. And I would literally, there's something about a dry daiquiri, that initial sharp bitterness that just kind of smacks you, right? And then it's like, whoo, a little bit of passion fruit, and it's like, here's a hug. Now go back. Now fix up and get back to work. So I've made my dry daiquiri today, which is actually, you're gonna take my word for it, but it's actually pretty tasty. And what I've used today is I've used 10 to 1, which is a rum I had the pleasure of trying recently. It's I think the guy's out in New York actually, but it's a blend of Dominican column still, so something you would, you know, more traditional daiquiri style rum, but then it's got some Jamaican pot still in there, got some funk in there, right? Because we need that. And then I've just thrown in some of the beautiful Haitian Clarin, you know, just to really round it off. And I've used the Demerara, you know, you can use whatever, but I've chosen to use the Demerara sugar syrup, which is just literally 1 to 1. And
30 seconds.
Oh, how many seconds? The ratio is 50 ml rum, 25 lime juice, 10 ml sugar syrup, 5 Campari, 5 passion fruit. Shake it, boom, you're nice.
See it there? It just, that's how it is. Boom, dry daiquiri. That's what we like. That's what you like. I love the line about you saying you just get a real bartender to make it. I love that. Yeah. Speaking of real bartender, hey, a real bartender that used to work for you as well. We've got him here all the way. I don't know if he's either in Puerto Rico, he's either in California, he's somewhere. Alexx Mouzouris, where are you? Where are you in the world? Just unmute you. Where are you?
I'm in California, actually. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Yes, I am.
Nice,
I'm about two hours south of Mr. Martin Cate, and contrary to what he said, it's a bit
cocktails.
That's right. It's a bit early for me to be drinking daiquiris, actually. I've been, yeah, I know, believe it or not, I've been busting 10 to 15K runs every day. So I'm, if I start drinking daiquiris now, there's no run today. So instead, I've blended some Café Mayor Puerto Rican coffee from Ponce, and a little Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee as well, just to give you a shout out. That's right. Blended a little coffee. So yeah, I'm on the go juice this morning. My daiquiri stories, I mean, this May to right now actually is my 10 years working in the rum section of the bar industry. Over those 10 years, I think it's safe to say I've probably tried pretty much any variation of rum. As you know, rum can be blended. You can take rum A and rum B and blend them and create rum C. You know, and that's the most fascinating, wonderful thing about rum. And it's, you know, it's the most probably the most open and inclusive section of the industry, perhaps. I mean, I've always perceived it as that way. I mean, look at all the people we have from all across the world here, and it's, you know, a pleasure, a real pleasure to be with you all. So yeah, you know, so many different variations of daiquiri, and daiquiri is it's completely open to interpretation, and it's also quite a personal thing as well. You know, I mean, I remember working with Papa Jules back in the day in Mexico, and he would always bash the Lamoni 100 proof 50% daiquiris, which you have two of those and it's game over, you know. So it's you know, you can have the you know, Richard Seal of course has the Veritas, which is a very heavy ballsy daiquiri style. I like a lighter, more, you know, kind of dare I say fresher style of daiquiri, nothing too invasive, no heavy high esters or anything. For myself, I'm on a caliche. When I'm drinking a daiquiri, I'll have one later. The caliche is a rum made by us at Dunku. of course, Don Cristal is the flagship of our brand, but Caliche is it's under the umbrella, but it's a slightly different name. Caliche meaning soil or earth. It's what our the land of Puerto Rico. So it's a blend of 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and 5-year-old rums mixed with a little bit of Solera rums. So this is actually our, believe it or not, check that out, up to 55 years old this year. Solera rums. That's real color. That's real color from a barrel. There's no sugar added to that. So we add a little bit of that to this mix as well, and then charcoal filter. It's kind of like a bitter, like a rum bitter. It's master blenders bitters, I like to call it. Daiquiris, daiquiri's so interesting. Like you can go to a restaurant and order a steak, and the waiter's going to say to you, "How would you like your steak cooked? Medium rare, peppercorn sauce, béarnaise sauce." As I think it was Julio mentioned, like it's like a martini. You go to a bar these days, you ask for a gin martini. How would you like it, sir? 6-1? Would you like a lemon twist, an olive?
30 seconds.
Specifications behind this. I think one of the things we should all push for is when someone comes to your bar and orders a daiquiri, how would you like your daiquiri? What rum would you like? Would you like caster sugar? Would you like 1-to-1 sugar, 2-to-1, brown sugar? You could even blend citruses. So personally, for me, my go-to base formula, just to start experimenting and testing out with rum, has always been 60 ml rum, 25 ml lime, and 2 flat bar spoons of caster sugar. Stir the sugar into the lime, add the rum, give it a super hard shake, frozen coupette, and don't use a double strainer.
That's a perfect way to actually no one's mentioned about the double strainer. Alex, amazing. Don't double strain my daiquiri, please. I like those little bits of ice inside my ship. Am I allowed to say that? It's too late anyway. I like that little bit of ice inside my cocktail, especially when I'm in Cuba or in Puerto Rico in a nice hot country in Jamrock, and it's just like the heat's gonna melt the ice anyway. Don't double strain my daiquiri. If I come to your bar, don't double strain it. If I'm judging you in a cocktail competition, you're gonna lose mark. Anyway,